I can't recall any negative press or any harassment per se. I do know that, like, for Joe was very careful about his reputation. So, for example, when Howard put me on the air, when Howard Stern put me on the air that time, by calling the hotel, you know, Joe and Rick were in the studio. Joe had gone to the bathroom, and Rick said, "Hey, you got to call Joe's new girlfriend. She's a stripper, and get her on the air." And so Howard gets me on the air real quick, and I started answering questions about our sex life because I'm half asleep and I don't really know who Howard Stern is. And Rick thought that was just insanely funny. Joe was livid when he got back to the hotel, and it was the first time I'd ever really grasped that the things I say and do are going to reflect on a big scale for him, you know. I mean,
okay, sure.
Yeah, like when I said that thing about when Howard asked if we'd had ever had threesomes, and I said yes, part of why I was honest about it was because I thought, well, you know, all guys like, you know, to have that studly image, but Joe was, you know, a little different. He didn't want his sex life to be out there at all. And, you know, he was just private about that stuff. And, you know, I remember being in New Zealand, and when word would get out that he was there, whether it was at a restaurant, and one time we were just like antiquing, and somebody recognized him, and all of a sudden in the middle of this, you know, little quiet street, there's people everywhere surrounding us. He reached through the crowd because they had kind of pushed me out and pulled me back in. Like he was always really great with his fans. Like he would never be rude and say, I don't have time for, I mean, I've heard stories of him being rude, but my guess is it happened at a time when he was just like really drunk or hungover or something. Yeah. And I did not ever witness him being rude to fans who wanted autographs or who came up to him in stores. I saw him being rude to people randomly, like bartenders and flight attendants, when he was drunk or jonesing, you know, or super hungover. He could just be the biggest jerk in the world. It wasn't frequent that happened, but he was always very appreciative of his fans. I think he was a little terrified that our drug use and like certain stories, like when I beat the crap out of him or tried to beat him up in the back of that limo, and then the limo driver, of course, was fully aware of what had just taken place. Like he did worry about that stuff getting to the press because he didn't want his fans to know what an addict he was or what a dysfunctional relationship he was in.
Yeah.
He wanted to keep that stuff private. I mean, I think he also, you know, it wasn't just his fans. I think he worried about what his mom would think.